And I love a team that has a coordinated dance. Moving over to the West, the news that rocked the NBA yesterday when Michael Malone was fired by the Denver Nuggets. Malone was just 2 seasons removed from winning a championship and had coached the Nuggets to a 47-32 record this season. So coaching in the NBA, we know that it can be a thankless job more often than not, lucrative, but thankless. Of the last 6 championships, 4 of the coaches have been fired by their team. So here's Vice Chairman of the Nuggets ownership group, Josh Kroenke, on what went into the decision to fire Malone.
Having observed our group over a very long period of time, what I would say is that, having observed that group over a period of time, there were certain trends that were very worrisome to me at different points in time. But they would get masked by a few wins here and there. And, in the world of professional sports, when winning and losing is your currency, winning can mask a lot of things. I think that, after talking with my father in recent days, we came to the decision that we were going to be changing these roles at the end of the season. Then your mind then turns to, well, what is the best decision for this group right now? And, from that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can.
Okay, so when you hear that winning masks everything, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I want to say something about KSE. This is maybe not a household name. It stands for Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. They are a conglomerate. E. Stanley Kroenke and his son Josh run it. They own a bunch of teams across the world, okay? They own the LA Rams. They own the Denver Nuggets. They own the Colorado Avalanche. They own Arsenal in London. They own a bunch of other teams and venues too, but those are the 4 big ones. They don't fire coaches, Malika, okay? Stan Kroenke bought Arsenal in 2007. He's fired 1 coach since then. They've replaced the coach because a legend retired. The Avalanche have not changed coaches since 2016. The Rams, you know that McVay has been there since 2017. He's had 2 coaches changing since he's bought the team in 2010. Michael Malone has been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
They just don't change coaches. And the reason I'm making this point is because they don't come to this situation lightly. This is not like the Pistons, who have had 3 coaches in 3 years, or the Suns, who had 3 coaches in 3 years, or the Kings, who change coaches every 15 months. This is a team that is very, very careful with owners who are very, very cautious about ownership change or about coaching changes. So when they do this, they put a lot of thought into it. And when he says winning masks, what I took away from that is that he didn't want them to have success in the postseason and mask what they thought. Even though it's counterintuitive that you wouldn't fire a coach and then you would fire him at the end of the season, I think the Kroenkes fired Michael Malone now, whether you agree or not, because he didn't want him to have a good postseason and make it not fireable.
Okay, so a Nikola Jokić goes on an insane sort of Nikola Jokić-esque run. They go deep into the playoffs, even though they don't believe that Michael Malone was the guy. Fair or not, that's their perspective.
That sounds unfair and disrespectful.
It does a little.
I would argue that it is, but that's what I took away from listening to what Josh Kroenke said yesterday.
No argument out of me. No argument out of me. This is the question I have for you. Out of those 4 teams that group own, right, that they own, who's the most important player out of those 4 teams?
Well, we have a discussion about some of the stars on Arsenal, but I will tell you, all 4 of those teams have won championships in the last 5 years.
I know, but what I'm saying is this. When it gets to Nikola Jokić, I think this was just the start of what's to come, meaning that they're starting to clean house, right? Everyone is auditioning except for Nikola Jokić, right? Everyone is under the radar, under the microscope, except for Nikola Jokić. And I thought what he's saying is he don't want it to be fool's gold by getting to the second round of the playoffs. Mm. And I agree with you on this. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, bring the squad back. No. We're going in a completely different direction. We want to win championships. Nikola Jokić is going to be here. We don't know who else is going to be.
Well, they're going to need to start that march today against the Sacramento Kings. For more on this, I'd like to welcome in our reporter who's in Sacramento covering this game, Young-Masuk. What more have the Nuggets been saying about the firing of both their head coach? And we should also mention their general manager, Calvin Booth, was also let go.
Yeah, Malika, even a day later, there are still people wondering exactly why did the Nuggets do this. I got a text from a Western Conference coach asking me what happened. Well, sources within the Nuggets organization told me management or ownership decided to make this move now because they were going to do it anyways after the season. But they felt like this team was not responding in the locker room. The vibes were down. Particularly on defense, they were not responding. They've taken a significant dip since the All-Star break. They've gone 11-13. And then there's the rift between Michael Malone and Calvin Booth, really largely over personnel. Booth wanted them to play the younger role players. And, of course, Malone wanted to go with veteran players. That was kind of what he won the championship with. It was described to me and everybody else as a Cold War that permeated throughout this franchise. And also, this gives the Nuggets a chance to take a look at David Adelman, a highly regarded coach in the league who's had interviews with openings in the past. This gives them a chance to get a look at Adelman with 3 games to go in the regular season and into the playoff run. They also want to give the best player in the world a chance to make a deep playoff run, and hopefully this will give them a shot in the arm, as it was described to me.
Well, the best player in the world is in the fight to stay out of the play-in tournament, and it continues in earnest tonight against the Sacramento Kings. Om Young-Masuk, thank you. Thunder, the Bucks here were attempting to do the very same thing.
I'm telling you, hey, look, that Kevin Porter Jr. coming in off the bench, being a guy to be able to be a playmaker was huge. Oh, welcome back, Portis.
Yeah, Bobby Portis making an effect in his first game back. Giannis Antetokounmpo dishes it out to the corner, finding A.J. Green for the corner 3.
This was a disaster for the Timberwolves. I mean, these are great plays by the Bucks to come back. The Timberwolves were in position to control their destiny. They blew this game in the fourth quarter. 40-13, Malika. Unacceptable that this could happen.
Another Wolves turnover here. Bucks in transition, and Giannis puts an exclamation point on the comeback. An epic collapse, you're right, Brian, from Minnesota. The Bucks get the win 110-103. The Wolves, they were in prime position to take home a much-needed win, leap into 4th place out west. But in the fourth quarter, what had happened was a lot of miscues. Minnesota faltered down the stretch. And after all of that, let's take a look at the standings again. Because the Clippers, they moved all the way up to the 4th spot amongst this logjam of teams at 47-32. The Timberwolves, they fall 1 game back. They're now 8th after their blown lead in Milwaukee. Brian Windhorst is shaking his head. How come this loss could prove to be so detrimental?
Timberwolves would have won that game.
Yeah.
They would have been in 4th. Mm-hmm. Instead, they lost, and they're in 8th. And they're up by 24 points with 10 minutes left. And by the way, if Milwaukee had gone like 19 of 22 and had like a historic, I mean, they shot great. They just played zone. They just played zone, and the Wolves turned the ball over and showed immaturity. And they now play a game on Memphis coming up where the winner of that game, or the loser of that game, is almost guaranteed to be in the play-in. This was a really, really bad. I know a lot of stuff happened in the NBA yesterday. This was a really, really bad loss for the Wolves.
But seriously though, Wendy, this has been the story of the Minnesota Timberwolves this season, right? The up and down, the inconsistency. Like in the game where it matters the most, and when you're watching the game, it looked like they had total control of the game, the importance of the game, and you go off and you fall off like no limit. It's just hard. It's hard to see.
They can recover. They have the easiest schedule down the stretch. But if they had won this game, they would have had the easiest schedule and holding on to the 4th seed.
That's really all there is to it. The Western Conference, it continues to be every single day that things can change, that things can continue to move around, and that is why down the stretch, every single game is literally must-see TV, and we're going to get to all of it.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,